Sage Wonder coming at you from my van down by the river. So, Antifa, they're back. I am seeing a rather alarming resurgence of Antifa activity around the country. Many of you might have seen the video with Owen Schroyer from InfoWars being accosted by open-carrying, rifle-wielding Antifa members in the capital of Austin, down in Texas. Now, here in Portland, we have a character by the name of Luis, this snaggle-toothed, slimy... he's a spitter. He is. I hate him. I hate to hate, but he's a spitter. I despise him. How's that? He spits in people's faces. He does it all the time. And he's got a nasty mouth. I wouldn't want him spitting in my face. I mean, I don't want anybody, but this guy especially. Yuck. What a bad guy. And so his crowds are getting bigger. There was some blood spilled this past weekend. Tiny and some other members of the Patriot Prayer Movement were there having a protest and a prayer over the injustice of the Katie Steinle killing and her murderer being set free. And Antifa showed up to counter-protest there, and there was a clash, and noses were in fact bloodied. So what I'm really seeing is in every major Antifa city that has a stronghold of Antifa, where they're most active, we're starting to see them really gather their forces and become a force again, and they're showing up in greater numbers, and more importantly, they're more violent than they have been really since Joey, not, I can't think of Joey Bishop, it's not it, the Patriot Prayer guy, Joey Gibson. Ha! Thank you for being patient. Joey Gibson and his buddies down there, they got beat up pretty good on camera. They got pepper sprayed. They got urine poured on them. And public opinion turned against Antifa. And they kind of went underground, and we haven't seen much of them since then. That's been a few months back. But now we're seeing them crawl out from under the rock they've been hiding under. And they're showing their faces, or their masks, as it were. And we're seeing them again. And I think this is probably building towards something. After November 4th turned out to be a nothing burger, someone came on one of my videos and left a comment that said November 4 was not canceled. It was postponed until Christmas. I wonder if that was an Antifa member with inside information, because I'm definitely seeing a resurgence and a building towards something. And we'll see if next weekend is also violent as we get closer now to Christmas. Was November 4 just postponed to a later date when we would be paying less attention? Well, that remains to be seen. But one thing I can say, Antifa is back. So, hey, there's one thing I find really interesting that the Patriot Prayer people are doing. One of the most annoying things about Antifa is that anytime you encounter them, then they just automatically label you a Nazi. You're a Nazi. And to somebody who, is definitely not racist, much less a Nazi, somebody like Joe Gibson, who was, he's half Japanese, and Tiny is Polynesian. I think he's Samoan. And another guy that's a high level, he's African American. He's got dreadlocks, And to be called a Nazi when you're a person of color is got to be so annoying. False accusations are irritating. So the Patriot Prayer people have been doing something to give Antifa a taste of their own medicine. When Antifa calls them a Nazi, the Patriot Prayer people started calling them pedophiles, which is really making them mad. It is really making Antifa angry. It's stirring them up, and I think that's part of what the violence was about, was they did not appreciate being called pedophiles to their face. And the correlation is that these Patriot Prayer people and people like me and you are not racist, and we are not Nazis, and we don't like being accused of something we're not. So they just spun it around on them and accused them of something they're probably not. They're probably not pedophiles. And to have somebody point a finger at you with some nasty, terrible, indignant label that you don't deserve is irritating and frustrating, and it angers you. And so Antifa's getting a taste of their own medicine to know what it's like to be called something they are not. And it's making him mad. So, hey, if you ever tangle up with an Antifa member and he calls you a Nazi, just call him a pedophile. But you might want to duck. But anyway, once again, if you haven't seen the headline, Antifa is back. Keep your eyes peeled. Watch out for the black-clad marauders. God save our republic.